Hello everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to be profiling something more of a theory. It's not necessarily a ready to go, I mean you could take it, they can play it, but it's not necessarily optimized. But this list is kind of my best way to play Therions in 2023. This incorporates the P.U.N.K and the Superheavy Samurai engine, and the logic is that both the P.U.N.Ks and the Superheavies have the capabilities to get to the Therions in some way, and then we're playing a heavier Therion engine, I'll say, and it's just a way of kind of trying to play Therions, because I find the Therion archetype very fascinating. Back when Kit Colors was legal, I had a really cool combo with the Predator Plants in order to mill 8, doing the classic mill 8 tier combo, but obviously with Kit Colors being banned, we don't have access to that anymore. So this is my current attempt at playing Therions in 2023. Currently this is 45 cards. I would like to make it closer to 40, and certainly in the comments let me know if there's ways you would change this as well. But to start with, we are on 2 Regulus and then 1 Lily. 2 would be probably nice. 1 Bull, 1 Empress, and 1 Reaper. Then we are playing 3 of the field spell, 2 Endless Engine, and 1 Therion Cross. So the kind of where the deck started with Theory is that the deck plays really nicely with the Superheavy Samurais, because Endless Engine allows you to get spells and traps out of the grave. So if you were playing a heavier Superheavy Samurai engine, you'd be able to recycle spells and traps out of the graveyard to keep them live. And then obviously you can access the Therion side by using a rank 4 through Merrymaker into Gigantic Champion, which gets you into the Therions as well. And obviously with the machines, there was already synergy with Regulus back in the Superheavy Samurai days. So this is the engine we're playing. The Therions I've chosen, Reaper is a disruption going first, Bull is a interruption going second. Bull also has a really nice interaction with Deer Note, which allows you to kind of recycle the P.U.N.K engine. Empress is a good one for making rank 8s and just get extra bodies, and then Lily obviously searches, and Regulus is the big payoff. So that's why we've gone for these 6. Definitely you've got the capacity to play Duke. I think Duke is the one, the next one that you'd probably try and fit in. But yeah, that's where we are with the Therions. Then for the Superheavy Samurais, we are playing 3 Wakaushi, 3 Motorbike, 1 Scales, 1 Soul Piercer, 1 Soul Gaia, and 1 Big Benkai. And so with the Superheavy Samurais, obviously we just want to see Bike or Wakaushi, and then what we do with Bike and Wakaushi, depending on which one we open. If we open Bike, the line is to set up the Pendulum Scales alongside Baron with a Scales Surge, because Scales gets us to Merrymaker. So that gives us Baron, Scales, as well as the Therion combo. Wakaushi does the same thing, except we don't get to Baron. What we do instead is I would just use the Wakaushi to get into Diabolantis in order to dump the Lily to the graveyard. So obviously getting Baron is a lot stronger, but then later on in the combo you can actually access the Motorbike. There's ways to do it, and then Scales can bring it back. So depending on what the hand is, you can still get to Baron, but it just really depends on where you are. Then for the P.U.N.Ks, because the P.U.N.Ks also just fit really nicely in this, and I've opted not to play E-Telly, which sounds wild, but obviously it's a spell that does kind of conflict with the Super Heavies. We are generally trying to use the Super Heavies first, so E-Telly probably could just be in here and it'd be fine, but I'm trialing something without it. So we've got 3 Foxy, 3 Xiamen. These are the ones we want to see. 2 Ogre. This is my replacement instead of E-Telly, as well as 2 Deer Note. I think usually in this type of list you'd play 1 Deer Note, no Ogre, maybe even just 2 Xiamen, and then the 3 E-Tellys. I'm playing 1 Sharakusai just so the P.U.N.K engine does a little bit more on its own as well. So the theory here is that if you open the Super Heavies as well as the P.U.N.Ks, the really nice thing is that we can Pendulum Summon Xiamen and still get full access to the P.U.N.K side of things through the Pendulum Summon. Really, we're trying to just utilize the Pendulum Summon itself. That's what we're trying to utilize with this deck, is getting the P.U.N.Ks alongside the Pendulum Summon to facilitate the Therions as well. And then I've got 12 spaces for non-engine. That's why it's 45 cards. I've just gone for monster-based disruption, so Nib, Ash, but you could play whatever you want, format dependent. Fenrir, obviously, easy Baron there as well with the punks, and I'm just playing 3 Bestials, 2 Druids, and a Magna for 45 cards in the main deck. The extra deck, this is where you could certainly make lots of changes. Sargus, Zeus, Zombie Vampire, Harbinger, like this could be whatever. Zombie Vampire I think is pretty important. Merrymaker is very important. Dweller, format dependent. I mean, this could be Baguska, or one of these could be Baguska. I think you can make Rainfalls pretty well. Baron, Psychic and Punisher for the punks. Then we've got Amazing Dragon, Omega, XL Stardust for the super heavies, as well as Diabolantis for the Therions, 1 Rising Carp, and then I've just kind of thrown a couple of links in there, but the extra deck is not really a solved thing by any means. There's plenty of other options you could play, and certainly please let me know in the comments if you can think of anything that you would play there as well, but mainly it's going to be Synchros and Xyz monsters predominantly. But now what I'll do is I'll do some test hands. We don't really want to do combos as such. Probably test hands is going to do a better job of showing what the deck's capable of. Okay, so we'll do some test hands. Yeah, like I said, this will show what the deck can do probably a little bit better than what just combos would do as such, because you're looking just to see a mixture of the engines, just like that. There we go. So this is a very heavy, super heavy hand, but it does give us some things to do here. So we'll start off with the motorbike. Now we've already got Wakaushi, we've already got the Soul Gaia booster here as well, but we do need the motorbike in the graveyard. Well, this is what we're going to search off Wakaushi, so we can leave that in the deck. We'll probably just grab another. We could grab the scales here actually, and then just search something else later. Search another motorbike for later down the line. Now we can go Wakaushi, use its effect to scale Big Benkai. Obviously, if we didn't have Wakaushi, motorbike would search Wakaushi, and then if I didn't have Soul Guide, that's probably what I've been searching next anyway. So we're just jumping ahead in the combo and grabbing scales. I will show you what the standard kind of super heavy does. So yeah, it's Pitch Bike, grab Wakaushi, Wakaushi effect, place Big Benkai, summon, and then Big Benkai is going to search for the Soul Piercer. Now this is my preferred super heavy route. Obviously you can do a lot more without using your normal summon, but because we do get access to the pendulum summon, I'm very happy to use my normal summon on Soul Piercer, because this combo just does a lot more here. Now because we opened Motorbike, we have a very easy Excel Stardust here. And then we can get, Chainlink 1, Wakaushi Chainlink, well, Soul Piercer Chainlink 2, Wakaushi Chainlink 3. So we get the scales, we get to search with Soul Piercer. This is where you would normally search scales, but what we'll do is we'll just grab an extra motorbike. Gives us an extra tuner that we can use with our pendulum summon if we need it. And we get the motorbike to summon back out, and then these will go into Baron. So this is the standard kind of super heavy line that we're using within the deck. It gives us access to scales, Baron, and the pendulum scale, so both sets of scales there. And then we've got Z-Armin in hand, so we can still do punk things with pendulum summoning the Z-Armin. So we will pendulum summon now. It will definitely be Z-Armin. It will be Scales, who will be bringing back a friend in a second. And we've got to just decide if we want the motorbike to pendulum summon out now or just hold it for follow-up. Thinking along, just again, this is where like your extra deck could have better things in it than what we have in it. There's definitely a world where you'd want a second Synchro 10. No, I think we will summon it out, because we could actually just make a very quick Psyframe Lord Omega in amongst all of this before we do anything else. So we'll summon that out. The scales will activate now, and we'll bring out the super heavy, the Soul Piercer. And now what we'll do is we'll use Motorbike's effect to make itself level 4, and we will get rid of itself and the Soul Piercer to make Omega right? There we go. We can tag that out. So just a free Omega for no reason. We also triggered the Soul Piercer too, sorry. And I'm probably just keen to grab another motorbike again. There's nothing else we really need, and bike just gives us access to everything on the next turn, because we don't really have spells and traps in our graveyard here either, so we still have access to the super heavy engine. Now, because we have Soul Gaia, we can equip it to scales, summon it, and then here is our Merrymaker, who we can go straight up into Sargus, and then Sargus can use its effect. Now, we probably should think about this actually for a second before I just go all gung-ho on that. Actually, let's backtrack for a second, because the super heavies give us the access to the rank 4 side of things. So if we want to end on Dweller, which is a pretty good card, we might even just use the P.U.N.K engine to get into Sargus. Otherwise, the P.U.N.K engine can get us into Zombie Vampire additionally. So let's wait. The Soul Gaia booster isn't really doing anything at the moment. Like, we can just have it sitting. It's not taking up monster zone space, which is what I'm being considerate of. So with this hand, potentially what we can even do is use the scales and Soul Gaia. I mean, look, this is what we would do. We'd summon it and overlay it here for Dweller. Just conscious of space. We'll see how we go with the space. We've also got the extra monster zone, which we don't really need. We'll go Xiamen effect. We'll grab Foxy. Can use Foxy. Oh, we'll get rid of the motorbike. And we'll summon out Deer Note. And we can synchro for Diabolantis. We then get Deer Note and Diabolantis. So Diabolantis is going to send the Lily. Deer Note is going to summon back out the Foxy, because that's going to give us our rank 8 for Sargus. The other interesting thing with the Sargus Dweller here, which is why we did it this way, we even put him in the extra monster zone, doesn't really matter, is that we actually get access to Sargus's effect. So whenever we do activate Dweller, we can chain Sargus. Sorry, not chain, but in the next chain, sorry, we can use the Sargus to then pop a card. We're probably shotgunning Dweller, but it's cool that we do have the ability to do that if we want it. Now we can use Sargus's effect to grab the, I like to grab the Regulus, because then we can go Regulus, equip Lily, Lily effect, well, it's Regulus, sending Lily, we'll grab Field Spell, activate Field Spell, using its effect to grab Reaper. And this is the standard way that I generally do the Therion combo. This is not playing around Dark Ruler. I mean, the play around Dark Ruler is that we have Dweller. Now we can go Reaper, equip Lily, and we've got Nibiru in hand. So that's where we're going to kind of end it. Obviously, we've got the Omega that will come back eventually. We've ripped a card out of our opponent's hand, so we potentially know what they're playing at that point. That would also make our decision about what we do with Dweller, if we do go for Dweller at that point. So if we were playing another rank 4, which at the moment we're not, except for Springen's Merrymaker, which is not doing anything for us. Once we Omega Ripper card, potentially we don't want to make Dweller, but that is what it is. This is just representative of rank 4. We've got the negate, we've got the bounce, and this is cool because it bounces back Lily, which represents follow-up on the next turn. Baron obviously is a negate. Sargus represents more follow-up on the next turn if it sticks around. And Disc Colosseum is going to protect our monsters from battle, but it's also going to put a Therion or an engine into grave, which is really nice for us as well. So there you go. That's the first kind of test stand. That was really nice. It did everything. It was a pretty big combo there. We've got the Omega, we've got the Nibiru there just as a insurance policy. Like I said, we're not protected against Dark Ruler as such. And if we wanted to play around Dark Ruler there, to play around just to give us a little bit more under Dark Ruler, instead of going, so when we used Sargus, so if you backtrack a little bit, we've got Lily and Grave, Reaper and Disc Colosseum are in deck. Instead of searching Regulus off Sargus, we search Disc Colosseum there, we activate, then we grab the Regulus. Oh, that's in hand. We would use Regulus, grab Lily, send Lily. It means we don't get access to Reaper, but it gives us access to Therion Cross. So this just gives us something else instead of relying only on monsters. We could set Therion Cross, we've got Nibiru. Therion Cross is a negate or a banish. It's not both. It only is both if you have the Endless Engine in the graveyard, which we're not going to get into the graveyard unless our opponent goes into battle phase, but they've got to work pretty hard to get to battle phase at this point. But there you go, that's the first kind of test, and that, you know, was a pretty big showing of what the deck can do. You can kind of see how all three engines work together to make a pretty cool board. Obviously, there's no spells and traps here in the graveyard, so, you know, any future set of samurais that we draw are still live to do more samurai things. But really, like I said, it's the extra deck that we want to optimize. So that's why I definitely would love some extra deck assistance. If you can think of what would the best possibilities in the extra deck be. I'll do another test hand. Might not play it out as such this time, because you can kind of see, I think, the lines that we're generally trying to go for. You can kind of see what the punks do. You can kind of see what the super heavies do between Merrymaker or just a rank 4 like Dweller. So we'll just kind of maybe see what the hand looks like and go from there, see if it's playable. Also looking for non-engine. So we've got Ash, Foxy, Therion, Disc Coliseum, Bull, and Engine. Okay, look, we'll play it out. Having Disc Coliseum and Engine is nice, because what we can do with these is just set up the negation with Regulus before we even commit to doing anything of value. Because we do have the Punk combo with Foxy. This is why we play Sharakusai. So what we can do is go Disc Coliseum first, grab Regulus, use Engine to send Lily. Now, having Engine in graveyard at this point means that the Samurai portion of the deck is now turned off until the following turn. Obviously, we didn't open any Samurais, so it's fine for now. But yeah, if we had Samurais, then that would be the consideration. We probably wouldn't be able to go for that play. But if we had a Samurai, we'd just be able to set up Baron, so it's fine. But now we're just going to go Regulus, equip Lily. Like, we can just get the Lily effect out of the way now if we want to, and grab the trap, because we've already got the field spell, so we can just grab the trap. What's nice here is that we do have Engine engraved, so this is a negate and a banish, which is really strong. And now we're pretty free just to go off with the punk side of things. We've got a Bull in hand that we don't really need to stick around. So we'll go Foxy, pitch Bull, and that's going to summon out Xiamen. And then this is just going to be a fairly standard kind of punk line. Xiamen, grab Sharakusai, which will normal summon. We'll pay 600 to fusion summon, grabbing the Rising Carp, using its effect to tribute, and summon out a 3 and a 5. Now, what I'm not playing in this deck is any of the kind of additional punk cards, and definitely there's a world where you play them. We're playing a pretty heavy punk engine, so you probably could justify fitting them in. I'm just choosing not to at the moment. I'm just playing with the combo pieces as such. Now we can synchro. What do we make here? We do want the rank 8 because we can get Reaper and Lily set up. Diabolantis does nothing now in this position. I guess this is where if we had the Punk Dragon Drive, which would be a good card to have, we'd play that. Right now we're just going to be making a Synchro 8 for the sake of making a Synchro 8. We can go Omega, we can use its graveyard effect if we really want to. We're going to use the Deer Note to bring back the Foxy overlay, which looks funny. That's probably not the correct choice. Having Dragon Drive would be really nice there. Saga's effect is going to grab any Therion, so we'll grab, the Empress makes rank 8s, but we're just going to go for Disruption, so we might just grab the Reaper. Because we have to discard for Alacia. Oh, no, we don't really want to do that. So we'll go Reaper, equip Lily, there's follow-up there as well, and we're going to set Therion Cross. So there's our Therion end board. We've got Ash in hand, which is nice. We've got Battle Protection, we've got Sagas, which, again, does nothing really on its own, but follow up on the next turn. And once it gets outed, we do have the Omega in graveyard to recycle things if we need that. It's just monsters, it's just cards. It's just cards in the graveyard. So, I mean, look, in a pinch, Omega can get spells and traps out of the graveyard if we need it as well. But having Dragon Drive would just be the better Synchro 8 choice. So that's that one. Yeah, I think having some of the level 8 punks in Grow would go pretty far. You'd want to have the probably the trap or the spell search of one of them. But the only issue is that you just can't get them out of the graveyard if you do put them there. So that does conflict with the samurais. We'll do one more. Xiamen, Ogre, Motorbike, Nib, and Bull. So I'm not really going to play this one out. This is going to look very similar to the first one. We probably don't get to Omega in this one. Motorbike's just going to set up Baron and Scales while searching Scales. Xiamen gets us the punk side of things. So it's going to look very much similar to the first end board, except we can still have Dweller, we can still have the Therion side. We just won't have the Cyframe Lord Omega alongside all of that as well. But that's going to be it for this one. Like I said, it's more of a theory type deck list. I really love the Therions, and like I said, when the ban to Kick Colossus happened, I was quite upset. Not because I was an avid tier player, but because my Mill 8 Therion combo was dead. But this is my adjustment for that in 2023. Hope you enjoy, and definitely leave any feedback in the comments. Otherwise, thanks for watching.